The red light on Coordinator Vex Thor's console had been blinking for exactly 17 seconds before he noticed it. Those 17 seconds would haunt him later. The Quellan shifted his forearms across the control panel, his eyes widening as the audio feed came through. This is Theta-7 mining colony. We are under attack. Repeat. We are under attack. Scarix raiders have breached our habitat dome. They have hostages. Please, anyone, help us. The voice belonged to a Kren female. Vex's Thor could hear the fear in her words. Behind her plea, he heard other sounds. Children crying. Weapons firing. The harsh laughter of Scarix raiders enjoying their work. Vex Thor's hands moved fast across his console. He had worked at the Galactic Emergency Response Network headquarters for 23 years. He knew every protocol, every procedure, every response team in this sector of space. The information came up on his screen, and his heart sank. The closest qualified response team was stationed at Outpost Keller. They were 14 hours away, at maximum speed. The second closest team was even farther. Coordinator. What do we have? His supervisor, a tall Velcoran named Witness, appeared beside his station. Her ancient face showed concern. Scarix raid on Theta-7. 47 hostages. Mostly Kren families. The raiders are demanding the colony's entire mineral stockpile. Or they start killing hostages in 6 hours. Witness closed her 3 eyes briefly. Who can we send? No one in time. Outpost Keller is 14 hours out. Send them anyway. Maybe the raiders will extend their deadline. Vex Thor knew better. The Scarix Dominion did not negotiate. They did not show mercy. If their demands were not met, they followed through on their threats. Every time. He sent the emergency call to Outpost Keller. Then he expanded his search, looking for any ship, any team, anything closer to Theta-7. His computer searched through thousands of registered vessels in the sector. One result appeared. A single ship within range, 2 hours away. Vex Thor stared at the information on his screen. The ship was called Soul's Promise. The registry showed it was a human vessel. A merchant ship. Captain Park Ji-woo commanding. Director Witness. Vex Thor said slowly. There is one ship close enough. Then send them the call immediately. It's a human ship. The other coordinators at nearby stations looked up. One of them, a Draxon named Kellis, made a sound that might have been a laugh. Humans? The ones who just joined the galactic community 5 years ago? What can they possibly do? Vex Thor had heard the rumors about humans. Everyone had. They were new to space travel. Their technology was basic, compared to most species. Their worlds had been full of violence and conflict for most of their history. Most galactic citizens thought humans were primitive, aggressive, unpredictable, but the regulations were clear. Any ship within range of an emergency call must be notified. It was the law. Send them the call, Witness said firmly. We have no choice. 47 lives depend on it. A word. Vex Thor opened the communication channel. He sent the emergency broadcast to Soul's Promise. He did not expect much. Maybe the humans would acknowledge the call and say they could not help. Maybe they would not respond at all. The response came in less than 30 seconds. Harmony Nexus. This is Captain Park Ji-woo of Soul's Promise. We have received your emergency call. We are changing course now. We will reach Theta-7 inches, 1 hour and 53 minutes. We will handle it. The voice was calm. Steady. There was no fear in it. No hesitation. Just simple confidence. Vex Thor blinked all 4 eyes. Captain Park, are you certain? This is a hostage situation with armed raiders. Do you have military training? Combat experience? Tactical equipment? We have what we need, Coordinator. Soul's Promise is responding. Send us all the information you have on the situation. We will review it on approach. The channel closed. Vex Thor sat very still, staring at his console. Around him, the other coordinators were silent. Kellis spoke first. They said they will handle it. Just like that. As if rescuing hostages from Scarex's raiders is simple work. Humans are strange, another coordinator said. Perhaps they do not understand what they are facing. Or perhaps they are simply foolish, Kellis added. Witness raised one long hand for silence. We gave them the call. Now we must trust them. Send all the data we have on Theta 7 to Sol's Promise. Monitor their approach, and pray to whatever gods you believe in that those humans know what they are doing. Vex's Thor sent the data package. It contained everything. The colony's layout, the number of raiders, the type of weapons they carried, the condition of the hostages, everything that might help. He watched his screen as Sol's Promise changed course. The ship was moving fast now, pushing its engines hard. The human ship was heading straight toward danger, without any backup, without any military support, without any guarantee of success. Vex Thor thought about the Kren families on Theta 7. The children he had heard crying in the background of that first call. He thought about the 6-hour deadline. He thought about the 14 hours it would take for real help to arrive. He had given an emergency call to a species that most of the galaxy considered barely civilized. A species that had no reputation for emergency response. A species that had never proven themselves in a situation like this. But he had no choice. And somewhere in his chest, in the place where his people felt hope, something unexpected stirred. That human captain's voice had been so calm, so certain, as if he had done this before, as if rescuing hostages was just another day's work. Captain Park, Vex Thor whispered to himself, please know what you are doing. Please be ready for this. 47 lives are depending on you. On his screen, Sol's Promise continued its fast approach to Theta 7. The small human ship looked tiny against the stars, but it was moving with purpose, with determination. In 1 hour and 53 minutes, they would find out if humanity's first emergency response in galactic space would be a miracle or a disaster. The red light on Vex Thor's console continued to blink. The distress call from Theta 7 continued to broadcast. And somewhere in the darkness of space, a human ship raced toward the unknown, carrying hope that no one else believed in. Captain Park Ji-woo stood in the center of Sol's Promise's small bridge, reading the data from Harmony Nexus. His face showed no emotion, but his mind was working fast. 47 hostages, 23 Scarex's raiders. 6 hours until they started killing people. Minseo, how fast can we get there? Kim Min-seo looked up from her engineering station. The young woman's fingers flew across her controls. If I push the engines to maximum, 1 hour and 48 minutes. But we will need 4 hours of cooldown after. Do it. We are not worried about after if we do not solve now. Yes, Captain. Park turned to his other crew members. Lee Hana sat at the medical station, already preparing supplies. Choi Sung-min was reviewing the tactical data at the security console. These 3 people were his entire crew. A merchant ship did not need many people. But right now, Park was grateful for each of them. Everyone. Listen carefully, Park said. We have less than 2 hours to plan a hostage rescue. The raiders are Scarex's. They are violent. They do not negotiate. They do not show mercy. Sounds like a Tuesday back on Earth, Choi said quietly. Park smiled slightly. It was true. Before humanity reached the stars, Earth had been full of danger, full of emergencies. Every nation on Earth had developed emergency response systems, firefighters who ran into burning buildings, paramedics who treated wounds in war zones, police who negotiated with dangerous criminals, coast guards who sailed into storms to save drowning sailors. Growing up on Earth meant learning how to handle emergencies. Every human child learned basic first aid in school. Every human adult knew what to do when disaster struck. It was part of their culture, part of their history. When you lived on a planet with earthquakes, tsunamis, fires, floods, and human conflicts, you learned to be ready for anything. Park had been a firefighter in Seoul before he became a ship captain. Lee Hana had worked as an emergency room doctor in Busan. Choi Sung-min had spent 10 years as a crisis negotiator with the Seoul police. Kim Min-seo had been part of a disaster response engineering team. They had all come to space looking for adventure, for new opportunities. They had not expected to face the same emergencies they had left behind on Earth. But emergencies, Park knew, were universal. Danger existed everywhere. People needed help everywhere. And humans, it seemed, could not stop themselves from answering when someone called for help. Hana, what medical supplies do we have? Park asked. Enough for 50 people? Maybe 60 if we stretch it? Lee Hana said. I have trauma supplies, pain medication, sedatives, and equipment for emergency surgery. I am ready for casualties. Good. Min-seo, can you hack into the colony's systems from here? Kim Min-seo's eyes lit up. If they have a standard network setup, yes. I can access their sensors, their life support, their communications, maybe even their maintenance systems. I need you to create false readings. Make it look like a large fleet is approaching the colony. Can you do that? Min-seo grinned. Easy. I can make their sensors show anything I want. Park turned to Choi. Sung-min, you will talk to the raiders. You will keep them distracted. Keep them confused. Make them think they have options that do not exist. Choi nodded slowly. His face was thoughtful. The Scarix are aggressive. They respect strength. But they are also practical. They want profit, not death. I can work with that. Remember, we are not trying to defeat them, Park said. We are not warriors. We are emergency responders. Our job is to save lives. All lives. Even the raiders' lives if possible. This was the human way. Other species might want revenge, might want to punish the criminals. But humans who worked in emergency response learned something important. In a crisis, everyone deserves help. Everyone deserves a chance to survive. You treat the criminal's wounds the same as the victim's wounds. You pull everyone from the burning building, not just the innocent ones. The galaxy did not understand this about humans yet. They would learn. Here is the plan, Park said. We arrive at Theta 7 inches, less than 2 hours. Min-seo creates false sensor readings to make the raiders think a fleet is coming. Sung-min opens communication and starts negotiation. While they are distracted, Min-seo will hack the colony systems and find the maintenance tunnels. Hana will coordinate with the hostages through hidden communication and guide them out through the tunnels. I will position Seoul's Promise to block the raiders' escape route. Number 5. That is a lot of things that must go right, Lee Hana said quietly. Yes, Park agreed. But we have done difficult things before. Hana smiled. We got everyone out. Remember the bridge collapse in Seoul? Park asked Choi. The man who wanted to jump? I talked him down, Choi said. Took 6 hours, but I talked him down. Remember the factory explosion in Incheon? Park asked Min-seo. When we needed to shut down the gas lines before the whole building went up? I remember, Min-seo said. I had never moved so fast in my life. This is the same thing, Park said. Different place, different danger, but the same mission. We go in. We save people. We get out. We have trained for this our whole lives, even if we did not know we were training for this. The crew was silent for a moment. Then Choi spoke. Captain, the galaxy thinks we are primitive. They think we are not ready for this kind of work. I know. What if we fail? Park looked at each of his crew members. Then we fail trying. But we do not fail because we were afraid. We do not fail because we did not try. We answer the call. That is what humans do. That is what emergency responders do. Someone needs help, we go. It is that simple. Lee Hana stood up from her station. Then let us go save some lives. Kim Min-seo's fingers were already flying across her console, planning her hacks. Choi was reviewing Scarrick's psychology files, learning how to talk to them. Park returned to the captain's chair and watched the clock count down. 1 hour and 48 minutes until they reached Theta 7. 1 hour and 48 minutes until they proved what humans could do. 1 hour and 48 minutes until the galaxy learned that Earth's children brought more than technology to the stars. They brought something more valuable. They brought the knowledge of how to face disaster without fear, how to help others without hesitation, how to run toward danger when everyone else ran away. Sol's Promise flew through space, engines pushed to their maximum. Inside the small ship, 4 humans prepared to do what their species had always done. They prepared to answer an emergency call. They prepared to face impossible odds. They prepared to save lives. And they did it all, without any doubt that they would succeed. Because on Earth, doubt killed people. Hesitation killed people. Fear killed people. So humans learned to push those feelings aside and just act, just move, just help. The galaxy was about to learn what that meant. Sol's Promise raced toward Theta 7, carrying hope on its wings. Sol's Promise dropped out of faster-than-light travel exactly 1 hour and 48 minutes after receiving the emergency call. The small merchant ship appeared in Theta 7's orbit like a ghost, materializing from nothing. On the bridge, Captain Park Ji-woo studied the colony below. The mining settlement looked peaceful from space, but his sensors told a different story. The main habitat dome showed signs of weapons fire. Life support was still functioning, but barely. And scattered across the dome's interior were the heat signatures of 70 living beings. 23 signatures showed the larger body mass of Scarrick's raiders. 47 showed the smaller signatures of Kren hostages. Min-seo, begin the false readings, Park said calmly. Kim Min-seo's fingers danced across her console. Sending now. Their sensors will show 5 ships approaching from the edge of the system. Large ships. Military configuration. How long before they realize the ships are not real? Maybe 30 minutes if they are smart. Maybe an hour if they are not. Good enough. Sung-min. Open communication with the raiders. Waven. Choi Sung-min took a deep breath. Then he pressed the communication button. This is the merchant vessel Sol's Promise, calling the Scarrick's forces at Theta 7 colony. We are here to help resolve this situation peacefully. The response came quickly. A harsh voice filled with anger and suspicion. Merchant vessel? You are alone. You are nothing. Leave now, or we destroy you. I understand your position, Choi said. His voice was calm, friendly even. You have hostages. You have demands. You want to leave with the minerals and no one hurt. That is a reasonable goal. Park watched Choi work. This was the human way of crisis negotiation. You did not threaten. You did not insult. You acknowledged what the other person wanted. You made them feel heard. You made them think they had control, even when they did not. The Scarrick's voice paused. You understand? R1. Of course. You came here for profit. Violence is just a tool to get what you want. But violence is messy. It brings attention. It brings problems. What if we can help you get what you want without all those problems? Back at Harmony Nexus, Coordinator Vexthor watched this exchange on his monitor. Around him, other coordinators had gathered. They stared at the screen in confusion. What is the human doing? Kellis asked. He is talking to them as if they are friends. He is building trust. Witness said quietly. The old Velkoran's face showed something that might have been approval. He is making them believe he is on their side. It is clever. Numb. On Sol's Promise, Kim Min-seo whispered to Captain Park. I am into their systems. The colony has maintenance tunnels running under the habitat dome. The raiders do not know about them. I can guide the hostages through the tunnels to an emergency airlock on the far side. Show Hana the route, Park said. At the medical station, Hanna studied the tunnel map that appeared on her screen. Then she accessed the colony's emergency communication system. It was a backup network designed to work even if the main systems failed. The raiders would not know it existed. She sent a message to the Kren hostages. Simple words, clear instructions. This is rescue team from Soul's Promise. We are here to help. When we signal you, move to the maintenance tunnel entrance in the northwest corner. Follow the tunnel to emergency airlock 7. We will be waiting. Inside the habitat dome, a Kren mother named Selah felt her personal communicator vibrate. She looked at the message. Her eyes went wide. She carefully showed it to the Kren next to her, then to the next. The message passed from hostage to hostage, hidden from the raiders who watched them. Hope, which had died in their hearts hours ago, began to grow again. Choi continued his negotiation. I am seeing something on our sensors that concerns me. It looks like several large ships approaching this system. Military ships. Did you know about this? Greed, and RRO. The Scaric's voice changed, became worried. What ships? We see no ships. Check your long-range sensors. They are still far away, but they are coming. I think someone called for military support. That makes this situation much more complicated for you. There was silence. Then sounds of movement and angry voices in the background. The Scarics were checking their sensors. They were seeing exactly what Min Seo wanted them to see. 5 large military vessels, approaching fast. The Scaric's leader, whose name was Krieg, stared at his sensor display. This changed everything. A simple raid had become a military situation. If those ships arrived, his crew would be trapped, probably killed. You, Krieg said into the communicator. Human, what do you suggest? Choi smiled. The raider had just asked for help. I suggest we make an exchange. You release the hostages. In return, I help you leave this system before those military ships arrive. You take the minerals you wanted. Everyone survives. Everyone goes home. Why would you help us? Because I do not want bloodshed. Because I am a merchant. And merchants understand profit. Because if shooting starts, my ship might get hit. And I would rather avoid that. It was all lies, of course. But they were lies that made sense to a Scaric's raider. They were lies that fit the situation. They were lies that gave Krieg a way out that did not end in his death. I will consider this, Krieg said. Please do. But consider quickly. Those ships will be here in less than an hour. The communication closed. Park looked at his crew. Status? The hostages have the message, Hanna said. They are ready to move when we give the signal. The false fleet will hold for another 40 minutes, Kim Min Seo said. After that, their sensors will start to see through it. Then we move now, Park said. Min Seo, shut down the power in the habitat dome for 30 seconds. Make it look like a system failure. During that 30 seconds, Hanna will signal the hostages to run. Min Seo nodded. Ready. Hanna, ready. Park took a breath. This was the moment. This was when the plan either worked or failed. Do it. The lights in Theta 7's habitat dome went out. Complete darkness filled the space. The Scaric's raiders shouted in confusion. Their night vision equipment activated. But it took precious seconds. In those seconds, Hanna sent the signal. The Kren hostages moved. They had been miners and colonists and families just living their lives. But now, they moved like trained soldiers. They ran through the darkness toward the maintenance tunnel entrance. Mothers carried children. Fathers helped the elderly. They made no sound. They moved as one. By the time the lights came back on 30 seconds later, 15 hostages had disappeared into the tunnel. The raiders did not notice yet. They were still checking their equipment, making sure the power failure had not damaged anything. Choi opened the communication again. Krieg, are you there? My sensors show you had a power failure. Is everything okay? It is fine, Krieg growled. Just a system problem. Good. Have you considered my offer? While Krieg answered, 10 more hostages slipped into the tunnel. Then 8 more. Then 9 more. Each time the raiders turned their backs, more Kren disappeared. Finally, only 5 hostages remained. But these 5 were in the center of the dome, surrounded by raiders. They could not reach the tunnel without being seen. Park watched this on his sensors. They had saved 42 hostages, but 5 remained. 5 lives, still in danger. Captain, Choi said quietly, we cannot get the last 5 out. They are too exposed. Park's jaw tightened. 42 out of 47 was a good result. Most emergency responders would take that number and be happy. But Park had been a firefighter. He knew what happened when you left people behind. He knew how those faces haunted your dreams. Keep negotiating, Park said. I am thinking of something. On his console, a new message appeared. It was from Coordinator Vexthor at Harmony Nexus. Soul's promise. You have done the impossible. 42 hostages are safe. This is already a miracle. Do not risk yourselves for 5 more. Park read the message. Then he deleted it. Vexthor was right. It was a miracle. But humans did not stop at miracles. They pushed for more. They pushed for everyone. New plan, Park said. Sung-min, you are going to do something crazy. Choi. Sung-min looked at Captain Park. How crazy are we talking? I need you to offer yourself as a hostage in exchange for the remaining 5 Kren. The bridge of Soul's promise went silent. Lee Hana stopped what she was doing. Kim Min Seo turned away from her console. Both women stared at their captain. Captain, Hana said slowly. That is suicide. No, Park said. It is a calculated risk. Sung-min is our negotiator. He knows how to talk to dangerous people. He knows how to survive. And most importantly, once he is down there, we have a person on the inside. Choi thought about this. His mind worked through the possibilities, the dangers, the opportunities. Then he smiled. It was the kind of smile he used to wear back in Seoul when he was about to do something that terrified him. I will do it, Choi said. But Captain, promise me something. If this goes wrong, you get everyone else out. Do not wait for me. I will come back for you, Park said. That is my promise. No one gets left behind. That is the human way. Choi nodded. Then he opened the communication channel again. Krieg, I have a proposal. A way to show my good faith. A way to prove I want to help you. What proposal? The Scarix sounded suspicious. I will come to the colony. In person. I will be your hostage. In exchange, you release the 5 remaining Kren. They mean nothing to you anyway. But having a human hostage? That gives you leverage against those military ships that are coming. At Harmony Nexus, the coordinators watching this exchange could not believe what they were hearing. The human is volunteering to be a hostage? Kellis said. This is madness. But Witness leaned forward, her ancient eyes sharp. Or it is brilliance. Watch. Inside the habitat dome, Krieg considered this offer. It made no sense. No species he knew would volunteer to become a hostage. But humans were strange. Everyone said so. Maybe this was normal for them, and the human was right. A human hostage was valuable. The galactic community would not want their newest members killed in a hostage situation. It would give him leverage. You come alone, Krieg said. No weapons. No armor. You land your shuttle at the main entrance. We see any tricks. We kill you, and the Kren. Agreed, Choi said. He stood up from his station. Lee Hana grabbed his arm. I am always careful, Choi said with a smile that did not reach his eyes. Captain Park walked with Choi to the shuttle bay. As they walked, Park spoke quietly. Remember your training. Keep them talking. Keep them calm. Make them think they are in control. We will be working on the outside to get you out. I know. Choi said. Captain, on Earth, firefighters run into burning buildings. Paramedics go into war zones. Coast guards sail into storms. This is just another emergency. This is what we do. Yes, Park agreed. This is what we do. Choi climbed into the small shuttle. The doors closed. Park watched through the window as the shuttle detached from Seoul's Promise and began its descent to the colony. Back on the bridge, Park studied his sensors. Kim Min-seo had been busy while they were talking. Captain, I have something. The colony's security system has cameras everywhere. I can access them. We can watch everything that happens inside the dome. Show me. Images appeared on the main screen. They showed the interior of the habitat dome from multiple angles. Park could see the 5 remaining Kren hostages huddled together in the center. He could see the Scarix raiders positioned around them, weapons ready. He could see Krieg standing near the main entrance, waiting. The shuttle landed. The door opened. Choi Sung-min stepped out, his hands raised above his head. He wore no armor, no weapons, just his normal clothes. He walked slowly toward the entrance. 2 Scarix grabbed him roughly and searched him for weapons. They found nothing, because there was nothing to find. Choi had come exactly as he promised. Alone, unarmed, vulnerable. Krieg stared at this human. He was shorter than a Scarix, weaker, fragile-looking, but his eyes showed no fear. That bothered Krieg. You are brave or foolish, human, Krieg said. I am a man trying to save lives, Choi replied. Now, our agreement. Release the 5 Kren. I stay in their place. Krieg considered breaking the agreement, keeping all 6 hostages. But something in the human's eyes warned him not to. This human had come alone into danger. That took courage. And in Scarix culture, courage deserved respect. Release them, Krieg ordered his raiders. The 5 Kren were pushed toward the exit. They ran, not believing their luck. On Seoul's Promise, Lee Hana watched the 5 Kren climb into the shuttle and seal the doors. All hostages are safe, Captain. All 47 Kren are accounted for. Good, Park said. Now we get Sung-min back. But getting Choi back would not be simple. Krieg now held a human hostage. He thought he had control. He thought he had leverage. He did not understand what was about to happen. Choi looked around the habitat dome. He saw the camera positions. He knew Min-seo was watching. He knew his crew was planning. So he did what he did best. He started talking. Krieg, those military ships will be here soon. We need to plan your escape route. I know escape routes, Krieg growled. Of course you do. But let me help. I have been studying this system. There are asteroid fields you can hide in. Nebula clouds that block sensors. I can guide you to safety. Krieg listened. The human was offering to help him escape. To betray his own people. This was unexpected. But it made sense. The human wanted to survive. He would say anything, do anything, to stay alive. Krieg did not know that every word Choi spoke was being recorded. Every threat, every crime, every piece of evidence that would convict him in galactic court. On Seoul's Promise, Kim Min-seo was not just watching, she was working. Her fingers flew across her console as she accessed deeper and deeper into the colony's systems. She found the life support controls, the gravity controls, the door locks, everything. Captain, she said quietly, I can seal every door in that dome except the main entrance. I can trap the raiders in separate rooms. All of them except Krieg and whoever is with Sung-min. How fast? 3 seconds. Park thought about this. It was risky. But the situation was already risky. Wait for my signal. Inside the dome, Choi continued his performance. He pulled up star maps on a nearby console. He showed Krieg different routes, different hiding spots. All the while, he was moving, Slowly, carefully, positioning himself near the main entrance, Krieg watched the maps. But part of his mind was uneasy. Something felt wrong. The human was too calm, too helpful, too... Then Krieg's communication device buzzed. One of his raiders was calling from another part of the dome. "Boss, we found something. The maintenance tunnels have been used recently. There are footprints. The hostages escaped through tunnels." Krieg's blood went cold. He spun toward Choi. Choi smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "Yes. We got them out. While you were worried about fake military ships that do not exist." Krieg roared in anger. He grabbed his weapon and pointed it at Choi's head. "I will kill you, human. I. You could do that," Choi said calmly. "But then what? You have no hostages, no leverage, no escape plan. And I have been recording everything you said for the past 10 minutes. Every threat, every crime. It is all on record now, being transmitted to Harmony Nexus in real time." Krieg's hand shook. The weapon trembled. He wanted to pull the trigger. But the human's words made sense. If he killed the human now, he gained nothing. He lost everything. "You planned this from the beginning," Krieg whispered. "Yes," Choi said. "We planned it from the beginning. Because that is what humans do. We plan. We prepare. We train for emergencies. And we never, ever give up on saving lives." Krieg made a decision, a desperate decision. He grabbed Choi and put the weapon against his head. "Captain of Soul's promise. I have your man. If you do not let us leave, I kill him." Captain Park's voice came through the communication system. Calm. Steady. "Krieg, that would be a mistake. Why? What can you do? You are just a merchant ship." "We are more than that," Park said. "We are humans. We are emergency responders. And we have had people in worse situations than this survive. Sungmin knows what to do. You should have asked him about his training before you grabbed him." Krieg felt movement. Fast movement. The human in his grip had grabbed his weapon arm, had twisted it with shocking strength and speed. The weapon clattered to the floor. Choi had trained in hand-to-hand combat for 10 years with Seoul Police. He had taken weapons from armed suspects hundreds of times. Krieg was bigger and stronger. But Choi was faster. And he knew exactly where to strike. Krieg fell to the ground, gasping. Choi grabbed the weapon and backed toward the exit. At that moment, Kim Min-seo activated her program. Doors slammed shut throughout the dome. Raiders were trapped in separate rooms, unable to help their leader. Alarms blared. Chaos erupted. Choi ran for the main entrance. He sealed it behind him. Then he ran for the shuttle and launched it, leaving Krieg and his raiders trapped in the dome with no hostages, no escape, and no hope. On Seoul's promise, the crew watched Choi's shuttle dock. When he stepped onto the bridge, everyone was silent. Then, Lee Hana started laughing. Kim Min-seo joined her. Even Captain Park smiled. "Welcome back," Park said. "That was good work." Choi grinned. Just another day in emergency response. But the mission was not over yet. They still had to deal with the trapped raiders. 3 days after the rescue at Theta 7, Captain Park Ji-woo stood in a conference room at Harmony Nexus Station. The room was full of beings from dozens of different species. They all stared at him and his crew. Coordinator Vexthor stood at the front of the room. His forearms gestured as he spoke. "Captain Park, we asked you here today because the galactic community needs to understand what happened at Theta 7. We need to understand how 4 humans on a merchant ship accomplished what should have been impossible." Park looked at his crew. Lee Hana sat calmly, her medical bag at her feet. Kim Min-seo was studying the aliens in the room with curious eyes. Choi Sung-min leaned back in his chair, relaxed despite the attention. "We did what any emergency responder would do," Park said simply. "We answered a call for help. A Draxon coordinator named Kellis spoke up. But you had no military training, no combat experience, no authorization to conduct a rescue operation. How did you know what to do? Park smiled slightly. We had all of those things, just not the kind you recognize. He stood up and walked to the front of the room. On the wall screen behind him, images began to appear. Images from Earth. Images from humanity's history. This is Seoul, my home city, during a fire that happened 12 years ago, Park said. The image showed flames reaching into the sky, buildings burning, and tiny figures in protective gear running toward the fire, not away from it. I was one of those firefighters. We rescued 23 people from that building. We did it because that is what firefighters do. We run toward danger. Another image appeared. A hospital emergency room, full of wounded people. This is where Dr. Lee Hanna worked before coming to space. She treated gunshot wounds, car accident victims, heart attacks, and everything else you can imagine. She learned to save lives while chaos happened all around her. She learned to stay calm when everyone else panicked. Another image. A tense standoff on a bridge. Police surrounding a desperate man. This is the kind of situation Choi Sung-min handled for 10 years. Crisis, negotiation, talking to people who were ready to hurt themselves or others. Finding the words that would save lives instead of ending them. Another image. A collapsed building with rescue workers digging through the rubble. This is the kind of disaster where Kim Min-seo learned her skills. Earthquakes. Floods. Explosions. She learned how to make broken systems work again. How to find solutions when everything was falling apart. Park turned to face the assembled coordinators. On Earth, we did not have a galactic community to call for help. When disaster struck, we only had each other. So, we built systems. We trained people. We created a culture where helping others was the highest honor. We prepared for the worst and hoped for the best. But those were Earth emergencies, another coordinator said. Choi Sung-min stood up. Because emergencies are the same everywhere. The details change. The species change. The technology changes. But the core problem is always the same. People are in danger. Time is running out. You have limited resources. You must make decisions fast. This is true, whether you are in a burning building on Earth or a hostage situation on Theta 7, Lee Hanna added. And the solution is always the same too. Stay calm. Make a plan. Work together. Never give up. These are universal principles. They work anywhere. And Director Witness spoke for the first time. The ancient Velkoran's voice was soft, but carried through the room. You said, helping others is the highest honor in human culture. Can you explain this? Park thought about how to answer. On Earth, we tell stories about heroes. But our heroes are not always warriors or kings. Often, they are ordinary people who did extraordinary things to help others. The firefighter who died saving a child from a fire. The doctor who worked through a plague to treat patients. The teacher who protected students during a school attack. We remember these people. We honor them. We teach our children to be like them. And every human learns these values? Vexthor asked. Every human child learns basic first aid in school, Kim Min-seo said. We learn what to do if someone is choking. If someone is bleeding, if there is a fire or an earthquake, we learn that when emergency happens, you do not run away. You help if you can. We learn that every life matters. Lee Hanna said. Rich or poor, friend or enemy. When someone is hurt, you treat them. When someone is in danger, you save them. This is not just what doctors do. This is what all humans should do. The room was silent as the coordinators absorbed this information. Finally, Witness stood. Her 3 eyes looked at each of the humans in turn. The Galactic Emergency Response Network has existed for 3,000 years, she said. In that time, we have developed protocols, procedures, rules for how to handle emergencies, but we never developed what you have. We never made emergency response part of our culture, part of our identity, part of how we raise our children. She paused. Captain Park, on behalf of the Gurn, I make you an offer. We want humanity to join us as full partners. We want you to share your knowledge, your training methods, your culture of helping others. We want you to teach us what you know. Park looked at his crew. They nodded. We accept, he said. But we have conditions. Name them. First, emergency response must always prioritize saving lives over punishment. We help everyone, even criminals, even enemies. The time for justice comes after the crisis is over. Agreed. Second, emergency responders must be honored. Not just with words, but with resources. Training, equipment, support. If you want people to run toward danger, you must give them what they need to survive. Agreed. Third, we train not just professionals, but everyone, every species, every planet, every station. Basic emergency knowledge should be universal. Witness smiled. It was the first time Park had seen her smile. These are good conditions. I accept all of them. Over the next few days, news of the Theta 7 rescue spread through the galactic community. The story changed as it spread. Some versions made the humans into warriors, others made them into miracle workers, but the true story, the simple story, was more powerful than any exaggeration. 4 humans on a merchant ship had answered an emergency call. They had saved 47 hostages, using nothing but intelligence, courage, and training. They had done it without violence, without weapons, without the military support that other species thought was necessary. Requests began to flood in. Colony worlds wanted human emergency responders stationed nearby. Trading stations wanted humans to train their security staff. Even military organizations wanted to learn human crisis management techniques. The Kren families from Theta 7 sent a petition to their government. They wanted humans to be permanently welcome in their system. They wanted their children to learn from humans. They wanted to adopt the human culture of helping others. On Harmony Nexus, a new training program began. Humans taught aliens. Aliens taught humans. Knowledge flowed both ways. But what spread fastest was not tactics or techniques. It was the philosophy. I-case, the culture, the belief that helping others was not just a job but a calling. 6 months later, Captain Park stood on the bridge of Soul's Promise, looking at his communication console. It showed 247 new emergency calls. All of them specifically requested human responders. Captain, we cannot answer all of these, Kim Mincio said. I know, Park replied. But we can answer some. And we can train others to answer the rest. Lihana laughed. We came to space to be merchants. We ended up starting a revolution. When the 50, Kudding, Presspand, a revolution, not a revolution, Choi corrected. An evolution. We are teaching the galaxy something it forgot. That the strongest civilizations are not the ones with the biggest weapons. They are the ones that take care of each other. Park smiled. He thought about Earth. About the firefighters, and paramedics, and police, and rescue workers who had taught him everything he knew. They had never expected to change the galaxy. They had just wanted to help their neighbors. But their lessons had traveled farther than they could have imagined. From Sol to the stars. From one small planet to thousands of worlds. The human way of emergency response was spreading, and with it, something more important: hope. The belief that when disaster struck, help would come. That when you called out in darkness, someone would answer. That no matter how bad things got, there were people trained and ready and willing to run toward danger to save you. This was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not technology, not weapons, not even knowledge. But the simple, powerful idea that everyone deserves help. Everyone deserves rescue. Everyone matters. And when humans answered an emergency call, the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. Because where humans went, hope followed. Where humans worked, miracles happened. Where humans served, lives were saved. The galaxy had learned something important about the newest members of the galactic community. Humans were not the strongest species, not the smartest, not the most advanced, but they were the ones who would answer when you called for help. They were the ones who would come running when everyone else had given up. They were the ones who believed, with absolute certainty, that every life was worth saving. And in a galaxy full of wonders and dangers, that belief was perhaps the most powerful force of all. Captain Park looked at the stars beyond his viewport. Somewhere out there, right now, someone was in trouble. Someone needed help. Someone was hoping that their emergency call would be answered. And somewhere, somehow, a human would hear that call, and they would come running, because that is what humans do. That is what emergency responders do. That is what heroes do. Sol's Promise adjusted its course toward the next emergency call. The small merchant ship, crewed by 4 ordinary humans, flew toward the unknown once again. Ready to help. Ready to save. Ready to show the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength was not in their weapons or their technology. It was in their unwillingness to leave anyone behind. The emergency call had made the stars tremble, and humanity had answered.